So in our previous chat, you mentioned that we need to date and to find our person. How do we know we've moved on from the heartbreak of our last relationship and are ready to move and ready to really start dating again? And
Yeah, how do you know?
do we need to have fully moved on?
Well, again, this is what I'm realizing is, and you know this, like everyone is their own individual person. So everyone's a little different. Everyone has a little different flavor because they have some people truly that have gone through a breakup. And once the breakup's there, they already been processing stuff for so long, like it already took them time to get to that breakup. So by the time they get to the breakup, they're like in a different place. They're like, gosh, I'm just ready to just move on and just meet different energy, different people. Okay. So that particular person, they usually do pretty well because they already process things themselves.
Right.
Now, a lot of times, if you are a person that you really haven't processed it, you really haven't realized what was it about this relationship that worked and it worked. Because I tell them women all the time, I said, believe me, men are our mirrors. They mirror what we believe. They mirror what like what we come to them for. So when you do this and you get to be able to, like, after you do this breakup, I always tell people, I said, do some inner work, find out what happened here, because it really does come down to, it doesn't even matter who that person is. Even my story with my ex-husband, because I know something, it takes two people to have a relationship.
Yeah.
Okay. It takes two people, you guys. So I can't blame him because it was both of us in that relationship. And I am completely a different woman, and I show up differently now, and I do things differently now. And not only that, I understand myself. And so I understand, how to be different now, and what I really want and what I'm really longing for. So I think when it comes to break up and knowing if you're ready to move on, you got to be able to really feel it. You'll know. You have to have this, feeling of, you know what? I'm going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. And have that peace with yourself. And usually people, let me tell you something, and this is why I'm doing this work. A lot of women, they don't do the inner work. They don't do the process of clearing that. And so what happens is they hold on to this. And what I call is, a lot of women now, they hold on to what it's like frozen tension in your body. Okay. And that really manifests in other ways, right? It manifests in other ways. So if you're finding yourself struggling and really like, I'm not sure if I should move on or not should move on, I want you to pause. I want you to take a pause. And I want you to take a moment and ask yourself, what is it? What's going on with me? Why am I not moving on here? Because remember, I already told you, men come into our lives, relationships come into our lives for, to teach us something. And it doesn't mean that, everyone's going to be your forever. And it doesn't mean that if you had a relationship and it didn't work out, that you can't still look at that relationship in all the good ways too, and take the good from it, and also learn from the things that didn't work, and give yourself some grace, and realize that, you're really, this is really what it comes down to me. You're only here for a moment. I'm telling you from the bottom of my heart, like, I'm 50, I'm young, and it's going by so fast.
Yeah.
And you're only here for a moment. So whatever happened in our past, it's truly the past. And learning not to bring it forward, and learning how to, like, have some peace and move on. So if everybody takes a different time frame, and whatever that is for someone, it's okay. As long as you're not keeping yourself stuck, as long as you are, not like just staying there. So that's what I would say about how much time.
How would we know? I think that's a great answer, by the way. I don't think there's a cookie cutter, one size fits all. How do we know if we are keeping ourselves stuck? So, like, what are some things that we might be doing. Because I think sometimes I
Yeah,
totally
that's a
agree
good
with all the
question.
things you said, but sometimes
Mhm,
you're like, you don't know that you're doing them,
mhm.
and you think I've had this before where
You
I'm like, oh,
think.
yeah, I think I've looked at this, but then I look back and I'm like, wow, I really haven't. And something happens and then I realize and I'm like, oh, I haven't done the work and I thought I did.
Yeah. Well, you got to be able to look at and find out your beliefs. Like what are you really, that's how you kind of understand if you're keeping stuck. Because if you are not moving forward and you are not wanting to date and you are not, wanting to allow yourself to feel whatever it is when you talk about the old relationship or not their old relationship or the person. A lot of times when people are stuck, this is how it looks like. I'm going to show you how it looks like. It's usually like, oh no, I don't want to talk about that. So as a coach, I always believe there's nothing that you shouldn't be able to talk about. You should be, whatever it is, it should be able to be expressed and talk about. So if you're not able to talk about something, you need to find out why aren't you able to talk about that?
Mm.
Why are you, what is happening that you feel that you need to hold on to this? Is it usually, and this is what happens, it's usually because women don't want to feel. Okay. So women don't want to feel. And what I do with women and the work that I'm doing is I'm really helping what I call, feminine embodiment, which is really getting, so a lot of us women now, and it's not our fault. This is really what's going on. We are so much in the thinking. Okay. We're thinking, thinking, thinking. We're up in our head and we're go, go, go. We're up in our head. And we're actually, this is what's happening. We're actually disconnected to our body. And what happens when women are disconnected to their body and they're not allowing themselves to feel, then that's when you'll notice, like, people are not moving on. They're feeling stuck. They also, they cover it up with other shit. They cover it up with overeating. They cover it up with alcohol. They cover it up with like meaningless sex.
Yeah.
They covered up things because they don't want to feel. And they truly, and so when you get scared about your past and your past relationships and you avoid it, it's because you don't want to feel. So I teach women how to feel again, how to allow those emotions to go through. Because if you keep avoiding the feeling, you'll stay stuck.